Some people may think that there's not much history behind NASCAR. NASCAR has a lot more history than people realize. Drivers and tracks play a huge role in NASCAR's history. History for NASCAR changes each year whether we realize it or not. NASCAR traces its roots back to the Prohibition, who grew to compete with each other in a show of pride. Junior Johnson was the most legendary during this time. He knew all the back roads, he was a skilled driver, and could milk out every ounce of speed in a car he would use on his whiskey runs. He would modify the engines of cars to produce more power, add components to carry all the liquor, and remove all seats but the driver's seats to have more room for the liquor he transported. Clever moonshiners would rig cars to produce clouds of smoke or drop oils to throw off pursuing law enforcement. Johnson removed the windshield wipers and taped up the openings around his headlights. He found out he could pick up more speed this way. He once said, "Lose on the track and you go home. Lose with a load of whiskey and you go to jail." Bill France Sr. started races in Daytona Beach, Florida in 1935 in hopes that people would come and watch the races. The small exhibition races were a huge success, and the series was founded in 1948. Races were such a huge success that it eventually morphed in what is now known as the ladder. NASCAR was founded by William France Sr. on February 21st, 1948. France set up changing the course of history, a move that later would result in the creation of NASCAR. Big Bill, as he was called, scheduled a meeting on the top floor of a hotel in Daytona Beach to discuss his new idea. He brought 40 drivers, car owners, promoters, mechanics, and journalists from all over. There was the team owner, Raymond Parks, his driver, Red Byron, and his mechanic, Red Bott, who joined the name NASCAR. During his meeting, France put forth several key points: a way to determine a national champion, a cash-paying points, and rules that needed to be established and enforced. He wanted the teams to work together because he felt that the stakeholders had a better chance of success and profits. France told the group, "We must try to get track owners and promoters in building stock car racing up." France's vision was embraced by his audience. 2 months after the meeting, NASCAR raced its first official modified race on the Daytona Beach road course. NASCAR held its first strictly stock car race on June 19, 1949, at Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. Darlington Raceway in South Carolina was opened in 1950, which was the first NASCAR-based track. France's younger son took over presidency of NASCAR in 1972. France Jr. was determined to transform the sport in a global fan base. NASCAR's main series name has changed a few times. It changes every time the sport changes its sponsor. It started with the Winston Cup, the Nextel Cup, the Sprint Cup, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, until recently. NASCAR rejected Monster's offer, so it dropped Monster and is just NASCAR Cup Series. NASCAR has a lot of history, whether people want to accept it or not. A bunch of drivers and faculties go into making history for NASCAR. Spectators also add to the sport. Every time we go to a race, we could be adding to some kind of history. History for NASCAR gets added each year in some way, shape, or form.